Yes. Hello. Here we are.
We should have a picture of us.
Yes, we should. We should. Here we are. HeARThlife circle number 3.
Are we here already?
We are here already.
And today is a very special day because I don't think we're going to be creating again until January.
Correct.
Well, we will be creating, but not together on video or on Zoom.
Right. So last week, we forgot to introduce ourselves.
This is totally natural as always.
Yes.
And here we have
Nanette, Saylor,
and Gail Cohen. And we're here to help you find your most creative side each and every week.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. The whole idea is to come together like we are coming together to create and to make it be fun and light and easy. And Gail was inspired this week to bring a really special experience to us today, and we're inviting you in. So,
and I certainly hope you enjoy it. I think you will. I've been having fun spending too many hours last night trying to find the best way to present this. I was inspired by the coming year. I know we've all started thinking about New Year.
Yes.
The New Year. And how people have resolutions, which I don't normally have specific resolutions, but I consider ways in which this is an opening into the future for me, new beginnings, keys to a new start, and how I'm going to maneuver my life and manipulate things in a positive way and a good direction. And I thought about doors and windows and archways, and you can't see all of them, but many of my paintings have archways in the background, and I never really thought of the reasons why, but it was more about the possibilities behind those archways. And we thought about this theme as passages to possibility.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that is exactly where we're going to go with our creative project today.
Yeah.
And I was first inspired yesterday by a project I did many, many years ago before I started painting. And it was basically a collage, just a full collage, but somehow I decided to add windows and doors into this kind of rustic looking thing. And it looks like just a lot of color, but there's something special here. There's actually interactive doors. And here I wrote a fresh perspective. When you open this door, there are trees inside, because this is really great for me now, because my goal is to get connected and reconnected with nature. And so that is going to be my opening for this year. And I just wanted to read something to you. It says, and I only put this on temporarily, it says, to see a world in a grain of sand and a heaven in a wildflower, hold infinity in the palm of your hand and eternity in an hour. So we have an hour to create here, and we're not going to give you eternity, but we will give you the promise of thinking of this coming year in a new way and with a new perspective. There we go. New eyes. It's fine. Fresh eyes. So how are we going to begin? I think we're going to begin as our ritual every week is by lighting a candle and taking some breaths as we light the candle, thinking about positive energy.
Yes. And what passages to possibility might mean to you. For me, the breathing, the focus on the breath is always about opening and expanding.
Oh, breathing is an opening.
Yes.
So it's not just doors, windows, and archways. It's actually something we do every second of every day, and often forget that we're doing that because we hold our breath.
Yes.
And we have our beautiful candle, and it's lit, scented, and we're just going to take 3 nice breaths in and out.
I always like to think about releasing anything that's getting in my way.
Feel if there's any tightness in your shoulders, in your arms, in your body, in your mind. Hopefully your phone is off. You're giving yourself special time just to create. And one last breath.
I love to imagine creative energy flowing to me and through me. And so the breathing in and out really anchors for me that idea that we've got this, just that energy flowing through. And especially if you're creating with others like we're creating here together today, our energy is flowing through the circle.
It is now.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Our
Absolutely. I
energy
could
is
feel
flowing
it.
through the circle.
I may stand up just to show you some of these. I can't sit for very long, but I just had different ideas of how you create doorways to the future. So I have, this was just a simple painting that I made with different marks on it. And I cut doors and windows out of it. Now you don't see anything behind them now because I'm behind them. But I will be putting, I cut out, could you hold this please for a sec?
Yeah.
I will be putting words and different things behind there. Sorry. I have
So
my
to get
word
started,
box. Here's my word box, it's right in front of me.
yes. So to get started today, we're going to use.
You could
this,
use a piece of cardboard to start.
Same kinds of materials we used last week. You don't really need anything special.
Right.
If you did bring along some pictures, you may have brought along some pictures of yourself. We suggested maybe that from last
Right.
week.
I mean, I have a few photos of myself when I'm younger and just some things that I thought may work behind closed doors and some
Yes.
things that I'd like to have as openings.
Expanding.
Some doors will be locked and some doors will be open.
Yes.
Some doors will be partially opened. Here I'm revealing a heart that I'm going to fill in. So
And
all I
that's
did,
even on a canvas.
right, I just cut the canvas. I literally cut the canvas and left one side tight, one side cut. I cut the top, I cut the sides and the bottom, and I'll demonstrate. And behind that, I could put pictures. I could put anything that I want and just glue them behind. So you'll be doing that as well.
You might work with something that you started previously that you're not really
Right.
excited about and you want to transform it into something new.
Right, that's what I
That's a
did.
possibility.
Right, exactly. So I had this little canvas that just had a big mess of collage on it. And rather than cutting it open, I took a simple box. It was my tea box. And I cut off a piece of the box. And I'll show you exactly what it was. I just took the section off. I cut the side off. And it has this little flap here, which most boxes have some type of perforation. And I just taped it on here for now. But in the end, I'm going to glue it on. And when I open the door, or I open the window, I will see what's behind it. So the way we're going to start today is really just taking, if you only have cardboard, and that's absolutely fine, the idea is to create your own doors, your own archways, and your own windows.
Yes.
And we know that windows could be rectangular or square or an arch shape. And do you think I should demonstrate that?
Yeah, so in preparing for the activity, you're going to want to have your paper.
There's so many options.
Yeah, whatever paper it is that you're going to use. Obviously, you're going to want to have scissors with you. You're going to need to have something to draw your archways with, your windows, your doors, and then any of the collage materials that we've used before, any of the mixed.
Yeah, I even have an envelope here.
Oh, yes, envelopes.
An envelope could be a doorway as well. So
pieces of cards.
Right.
Also.
So you're just going to cover this with
Yeah.
titanium white or other paint and reimagine it into something else. And could you show us your card from last week?
Oh, absolutely. So last week, for those of you who are with us, we got started as an in-between project. You might remember that one of the things that we are discovering is that in the hour that we're working, if you're working with paint and glue, you need to let it rest and dry for a minute. And so it's kind of fun to have a secondary project to be working on. So while we were working on our bigger pieces, I created this card and collaged both sides, and I didn't get the inside done during the time. So
Oh, I love the texture inside.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and this was a cereal box.
You painted inside
So
there.
I decoupaged, or I used the Mod Podge, and I put some old tissue paper on it that was a gray color. And then I just took some paint, and with my fingers, I just played.
Terrific.
I just played, and I created the color. Then this paper is simple copy paper that I tore the edges. You might be able to see the edges are kind of torn.
Looks like you made
there.
holes in there.
Yeah, and I tore the edges, and then I put a little bit of paint on the edge to give it a little bit of that sort of antique-y look, give it just a little bit of texture. And then to make it be card-like, and you could even expand this if you wanted it to be a book. To make it be card-like, I just took a hole cutter, poked a hole, cut the hole, one at each end, and then pulled a ribbon through and tied it.
And that might sound complicated, so I think in our next class, I would love to make a book as well.
Yeah. So it really, all it required was me to lay the paper on top, take my paper cut, my hole punch, and just get the two holes at the end, and then push the ribbon through. And so here we are. So today, I'm going to add, because we left last week, we talked about figures, and I just wasn't feeling putting a figure on here. So, and here's the reason why, because
it's been waiting.
Just waiting for me to put a door on it today.
It's been waiting. So you can decide for doors or windows. Yes. So the basic thing is to have any surface, whatever it is. You'll start off with a blank surface, unless you have something that's already done. You could start off with something plain and just decorate it. You could use markers. We have markers and paints and anything that you like, and just cover it. Cover your entire surface. What you'll do next after that is you could cut openings in your surface. So I used a scissor and I used an X-Acto knife, a type of X-Acto knife. And I just cut these shapes, and I'm going to show you that up close. But the thing that I have to do now is put something behind it. So I could open my doors to possibility, 2 ideas, 2 words. And I'm going to show you how to do that as well. And here we are. So I just need a simple piece of paper to put behind here. Something that would fit. Here's another painting with an archway. And I will probably just use this. I think it'll fit.
Yeah, okay. So you're going to go ahead and do the background.
Yeah, I'm just going to do a plain background, and then I'm going to apply words, whatever. I'm going to stick this onto the cardboard once it's finished, once I finish decorating it. And I'll already have some openings in which I could put words, I could put pictures, anything that I like. I could even put little handles on my door with a button and some string, or tape. I simply use tape on that one that I showed you as a sample. So let's give it a try and see what we come up with. I actually already have a little bit of a background here.
And I might just adjusting
this.
the camera a little bit. Let's see if we can get it so that you can see a little closer what Gail's doing there while she's working on those. Oh, yeah. Okay. Let me readjust this one.
Just getting all my ducks in a row here. Just organizing.
And so while we're rearranging ourselves here a little bit, those of you who are watching, now is the time to be putting your color on your background.
Any background, whether it's cardboard or a card, an envelope, anything. It could be a simple piece of paper. Just start to decorate it, and I promise to show you. In fact, the best thing would be is to have 2 pieces of paper or 2 pieces of cardboard that are equal in size and decorate both of them so we could attach them to one another. So I just need a little bit of glue here. It's stick glue. And I will adhere this with a brush. And I'm just using a simple hardware store brush, a teeny brush. And I'm going to adhere the 2 surfaces together. Put glue on one side and put glue on another. So I'm going to put this one that I've already cut open onto just another one that I've already painted, just for demonstration's sake. So when I look through the door, I'm not looking at air anymore. I'm now looking at designs behind there. And I'm going to put my plans for the future for 2018 in there as well. Whether it's words, maybe even a leaf I could put behind there to remind me that I want to connect more to nature.
All right, so
that leaf's not staying, so I'm going to have to rethink that. And I think I'm going to go into my pile of pictures that I took out of magazines. Hopefully you have some magazines or newspapers around, and you have words that you cut out and ideas and pictures that excite you and make you think of the future and where you want to go in the future. Even if it's exactly in your space, but you want to find more peace and serenity in your space. So I happen to like this picture of a hammock, and I think I'm going to add that to my space because I would love to be sitting in that space. Nanette, where are you starting?
I am. So I wanted to just quickly demonstrate how quick it is to, once again, for those who weren't with us last week, I'm going to put some cover on this. I'm just going to, using a little bit of glue, I'm going to cover up this card with some paper. And
oh, are you decoupaging on there?
yes. Let me see. And actually, you know what? I brought along, it was kind of fun. Last night I was working on my sofa table, believe it or not. Because I just, you know, it's fun. Once you start to realize that you can create just about anywhere and not really worry if you have some basic supplies like wax paper that I put down on top of the table, then I didn't have to worry about making a mess. I don't have pets, I don't have children, so no biggie. If, you know, I make a mess there, they're not going to interrupt anything. So I can make some texture on this a little bit that just is kind of calming to me. Paper? Yeah, I think so.
Oh, cool. I wouldn't have thought that it would stick.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I think it's going to stick. And, you know, maybe, and it's giving me the opportunity to just add a little bit of texture to the top of this. And anyway, I thought it would be fun to see if I used this, what would happen. And you can see I've got paint splatter on it from last night. happens here?
This is my favorite expression that I found today. Home is where the art is.
Oh, yes,
Yes.
like that very much.
So,
And actually, I really like that this has underneath it the word thank you.
so you're going to save that?
I'm going to save that word,
Okay.
yes.
And again, I have a simple paint splattered card here that says spontaneous on it. And that's making me think I'd like to add a door there as well. So I'm going to cut out a door from scratch. And let's see how I'm going to do that. I've also cut little doors and windows off these little cards. It's a little canvas. And I could just apply this onto the cardboard and have an actual window. And I will have to use a thicker glue for that. A matte medium, a gel glue, and that should stay. Oh, look at the pretty colors.
Yeah.
Show them how you did that.
Yeah, and so
That's
this
beautiful.
is just me taking some Mod Podge, some wax paper, and some paint, and just playing. Again, not a lot of thought about how that's first going on there and allowing it to really just create an identity all of its own.
Okay.
So I like that that is becoming a really pretty door.
I would love a door like that. So my doors, just to show you, I've glued a backing onto here, which I could clean up later, but I applied that little pod in there that I'd like to sit on eventually, or lay on and read on behind my door, because that's something that I have the ability and the choice to open any door in my life that I want. And that's the one I'm going to choose for the future, is a natural setting. I would like to be in more of a natural setting. I put the word change in that door, and that can open and close. And I could decide to keep that in there, or I could cover it up with something else as the year progresses. So these are kind of a type of vision board, but they are interactive vision boards.
Yes.
And Nanette is the expert on vision boards.
Yeah, you know, the thing I love about the concept of vision boards, you know, so often we get caught up in what are the things that we're putting on the vision board. And we forget that the core of the idea, that the practice, the principle, is that the visual cues create feelings for us.
Mm-hmm.
That's really
As we're
what
looking
it's all
at,
about.
we experience
Yeah,
something,
yeah. So
a transformation.
right, and so it's not so much about the thing that we posted on this picture. It's that when we gaze upon the picture, when we think about the images, that the images connect us to a feeling, that they connect us to an experience that we want to have. Like your vision of being outside more. You can, when you close your eyes, you can feel that, you can smell it, you can hear the birds, you can be in that experience. And that's really what the power of visioning is all about. So it doesn't have to take the form of the traditional vision boards. That we can do all kinds of things with, and I love that when we incorporate doors and windows, most of us connect to that as being a passage to something new, to something, and for me, I choose those something new, those, whatever those something news are, I choose them to be positive and exciting and
So
exhilarating.
your doors are open. Doors are open for you.
Yes. Well, not always, but so when I see a door, I know that it's a possibility, and it may not be a possibility for me right now, but it's a possibility.
So it may not be your door
and
today.
And it might not even be my door. It might be somebody else's door. And because it's in my field of vision, because I've experienced it, I see it, somehow it will have some association to me. Right?
It does.
Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how we came together.
Yes.
So Nanette is a creative life coach, and I reached out to her wanting to do something like this in my future, which was many years ago.
Yes.
And over time, we started discussing it, and Nanette wanted to become more creative and partake in more art making and a creative process. And so that may have been my door.
Absolutely.
But you were invited into my door.
Yes.
And it became our door together.
Yes.
And I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So it may not be your door. You know, somebody say if the door is locked and you can't get in and the door's not opening for you, it may not be your door, but it may be your door to something else at another time.
Yeah.
And you may be invited through that door.
Yeah.
Or create your own door. And that's what we're doing today. That's the main thing. Today we are creating our own doors. And in this door, I have change coming through.
Nice.
And I think I'm going to, some of you had pictures of yourselves when you were younger. This is a tough one. That could bring up a lot of emotions, and it did, especially even just looking through the pictures yesterday. And I'm going to add a picture of myself floating on a little rubber dinghy when I'm about, well, I don't know, I might be 10 years old. I don't remember that time, but I think if I look at this picture long enough, it's going to evoke some memory. And I don't think I could have been unhappy on the ocean in a little dinghy, knowing that my parents or somebody who cared about me was watching over me.
Yes.
So I think I will put that behind a door just as a memory of the past, and then find a picture of myself in the present or something that reminds me of the present in the door or window next door. There's so many possibilities of where to put pictures and ideas. And there's no right or wrong. It's your board with your door, correct? Oh, how did you do that?
My printer did
That's magical,
So
actually.
this is one of those happy accidents. Last week we had a happy accident with a paint that spilled all over Gail's painting. And this is my printer not wanting to behave this morning. The heads needed to be cleaned, I guess. And I got all these stripes all over my
I don't know how you did it, but I think I'm going to have a dirty printer at some point, so I can experience
yeah,
that.
so what's fun is that I was, so here's a little slice of me. Here's a little slice of me.
I'm going to see what I could create. The other thing is when I'm going to glue this down, this piece of cardboard as a door, I also created a window and put a piece of plastic here. And not everybody has their phones off, right? We have a piece of plastic here to create a little window to whatever's behind here. So that's something that you could do as well. Now let's see what I'm going to put behind here. I hope you're all comfortable in your creative spaces with whatever you have. Any materials are fine. Even if you didn't have a lot of materials today or anything that we had on the list, simple markers and paper and a scissor will do. If you can't cut your door today, you could always design your door today and see where you'd like it. So let me find a plain piece of paper. Simple piece of paper. And if you don't feel comfortable creating your own archway, you could use, I'm not sure where it is, but you could use a simple credit card for the shape to design it. And I believe I have one close by, and it's right here. So all I do is I would put the credit card on here, or whatever card it is, and I would draw around it, and I'll do that right now and show you what I did. But I won't go all the way around. I'm gonna only do 3 sides. So when I cut it along here, or this side here, I will have this solid line here, which is still affixed, and it's not open. Otherwise, the whole thing will fall out. And somehow my artist brain didn't get that yesterday, and I was opening doors and losing my doors at the same time. So you could use a scissor or an X-Acto knife. And with the X-Acto knife, I would just cut along this line that I created, and I will have a door, and I'll show you that in just a second.
And I am simply covering up the words on the inside of this card with a light colored paint. I decoupaged or collaged on the front. On the inside, I'm just going to use a paint. Actually, I think I can see what's going to happen here.
So there's a good chance we won't have finished products today, but we will be displaying them on our Facebook page, on the Creative Hearts page. So here it is. This was the plain piece of paper. That's all I had, a piece of copy paper. It could have been a piece of newspaper or a cereal box. It could have been anything. And I created a door. And some of you might say, well, where's the handle? Well, we could create a little handle. Or I could just use a pen or a pencil if that's all I have and just draw a little circle as a handle. And I will put something behind here so you could see.
If you have buttons or shells, or actually I was thinking, you know, we had the theme of seed the day.
Oh,
seeds
as an opener. That's a cool thing.
Seeds
and any seed.
Any seed will work.
Right.
It's interesting, this week as I was making some things in the kitchen, I realized I had all kinds of seeds. So I started to look in my spice cabinet. I have fennel seeds, I have chia seeds, I have.
And that goes back to seed the day.
Seeds,
Seed the day, where every day we are growing, we're creating, and we're expanding.
Into the doors. The
Right.
Is a possibility.
There's another door I cut out of cardboard as an arch shape, and I put a little window in it. And windows are not necessary, obviously, nothing is. And I put some of my notes in there, but I'm going to be painting on this.
Move our camera back just a little bit
So we can see our hands. Yeah, we've
continuing to work
Experiment.
with and experiment. So like we said last week, part of our play is experimenting with the ways to make possible to invite you guys into our space and still be able to demonstrate some of the art.
All right, we're holding some of it up today because our second camera wasn't working, unfortunately. But
so, yeah, so there's a little
so
better.
all I'm doing is creating a background on here, just playing like we did last week, kindergarten style, where I'm not thinking, I'm just applying the first colors I see. I could be applying tissue paper, but I chose paint today, and I'm going to let that dry. So when I close my door, and then I open it, I will see whatever is behind here. And who knows what that will be?
Yeah.
Anything is possible.
So before I think the last thing I'm going to do is put my little slices of self on the inside here, my little smiling little girl.
Aww.
So I want to add some words. Things.
Will you be writing them or taking them out of a magazine?
Take them out of a magazine.
Or
yeah.
you could use, we have a pile of words here that I know you and I were choosing before.
Let's see. Yeah, let me see what's in there.
There's some fun words.
Oh, and look, what's interesting, this just caught my eye. I liked this. When I photocopied my pictures, they were in an old style photo book.
And you got another design.
I got another design, and I like this for
awesome.
The inside to be part of. I'm gonna Mod Podge that.
It's a beautiful
joint.
texture, actually.
Yeah, it's a great texture to put. What it called to me that it could go on the inside of my door. See that?
Oh, like a hinge.
Like a hinge.
So I also just wanted to show you, if you're not sure what to do, as far as your door. You don't even have to paint or collage. You could just cut something that already exists, like this bag over here. I'm going to cut a door with this, and it already has a design on it.
Oh, look, that works on there.
Oh, pretty.
Maybe I can incorporate this.
The idea is,
works.
yes.
Yeah, the pink. I wasn't so excited about the pink on the top of there, but if I add this to it, and last week Gail and I were talking about how we prefer to tear the edges of our words.
Yes,
and
this
often,
I can't tear, but the words absolutely I like doing that. Often you cut the words, you tear the words.
Yes. So you'll see a lot of people who use words, cut them very cleanly. My preference.
Not my
is
style.
today.
Right.
Yeah, and some days I do feel like I should cut around them, but rarely do I leave them in boxes. And one of the teachers that I had in collage work, she said, one of the things about when we work with images out of magazines to keep in mind is that when you cut around the shape versus creating a box around it, that your subconscious is really internalizing that shape and you're having a different experience with it. When you cut your images into little boxes, it's as if you're seeing them in frames, and we don't see the world in frames. Our eyes don't.
So
don't
if you're cutting around somebody,
yes, you're having an experience of
that
shape in a much different way than if you are to just create a box around it.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I need something solid behind here if I'm going to create a doorway. Any ideas?
Oh, something like another cereal box? I have another
Something
box.
To back it.
Yeah, I have another box.
That's okay. I'm sure we can find something.
Yeah, there, that works. And if
I put a door on here. I think I'll affix a door too here.
Yeah, so this is calling in to be on there.
No. We talk to ourselves a lot.
We do, and that's the fun of creating with other people.
As opposed to each other, we talk to ourselves and to each other.
But if I were sitting, I probably would be talking to myself if I were sitting in my living room. Truth be told, I do it a lot.
So my window is not even. It's not perfect. My door is not even, not perfect. And that is absolutely perfect. And I think I'm going to put it on here, on this old painting that I have, and decide what I'm going to put behind this door. So hopefully everybody has thought of ways in which they're going to relax during this holiday season.
Yes.
And find ways to be creative, whether it's cooking something you actually enjoy as opposed to cooking something for family or friends. Bath time, any kind of time that you take for yourself to enjoy just the serenity between the doors, behind the windows.
Yes.
We forget to do that during this time. It gets really hectic. I know I have family coming in from out of town, and my house is going to be very different for several weeks. And I'm going to have to just find time and remind everybody that I may be taking time to myself on different occasions.
Absolutely.
And that should be okay. Because I'm going to do it no matter what.
Exactly.
And that's what I have to remind myself, that I need to leave. Did I read that funny thing that I found? Kind of like this. It says, when a door closes, another door should open. But if it doesn't, then go through and through the window. Get through the window. Go through the window. Right. So if something's not working out exactly as planned, find another way in. Or out. Or out. Exactly. Yeah. So
there is always another way. Yeah, that.
Except for the video.
Yes. Well, we will, one of these days, we will figure it out.
I just want to show you that I'm using something different today. I've shown you the Liquitex matte medium in the past and varnish, but today I found the gel medium, which several companies make. Golden is definitely probably more expensive, but very good quality. I'm probably going to affix my door with this because I know that this pretty much sticks anything, and I'm going to stick my finger in it as opposed to a brush. And get a big blob and put it onto this substrate here, this backing, this cardboard. We'll just consider it a piece of cardboard or paper. And I'm going to put a little more behind my door. And hopefully it will stick. It'll take a long time to dry. It could take several hours to dry, but it'll allow me to work on here, and that's the main thing. So I have a door on here that opens and closes now.
Beautiful.
And I'm going to paint this or add some tissue paper. We also have stencils here, but first I think we need to color. Maybe you'll be ready to use a stencil soon.
Yeah.
I need a little bit of color on here first.
So any materials that you are used to using in the way that you create, that, you know, that's what this is all about. Explore the possibility of using things that you have used in the past in new ways, possibly. Or if you'd like to follow along and do it exactly as we do it, that's fine too. But
even we're doing it different.
Yeah, we each come at this a little bit differently. It's our own creative experience, and I think that's, if I have one big wish for everyone who comes to play with us here in the HeARThlife Circle, is that you begin to find your own way. You know, that you get really comfortable with.
You have to trust yourself.
Playing in whatever way feels right for you. Yes, we will provide you with some basic instructions and some of the ingredients, some of the materials that you might use, but the idea is that you can make it any way that you want to. We're incorporating windows and doors and passages today into anything. So
last week this was a piece of cardboard.
Right. And
you didn't know what
and when I left,
now it's a whole story. It's a story.
It's a whole other thing.
Right. It's your
it's
window to 2018.
Exactly.
Or your door, sorry.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, this one is a door.
I like your idea of painting around the edge, so I'm doing that with a little bit of purple here on the board.
Yeah, I enjoy the painting around the edge. That's a lot of fun.
It actually looks a little bit vintage this way.
Yes, it gives it a little kind of texture, and
I might even take a fork and scrape it through the color, just so it looks like it has
some grain.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks like it would be really fun.
I know, I saw a fork.
So,
well, I have a knife here. I could do it with a knife, just to have, you see?
Oh, yes. Yeah. I don't know if you can get a close-up of that.
I don't either. I'm just kind of, I'll put some more paint on and I'll show you.
Yeah, that's really fun.
So you're seeing the gold through there.
Very cool.
Now, we don't have to decorate the door with anything. It could just be covered with words. So all I'm doing is pulling this knife through it. I'm not sure if you see the texture. Possibly. You definitely won't see a manicure in this, in any of these, because my fingers are always in paint and glue. That is pretty cool. I would have never been able to plan that.
It's beautiful.
And I could have used a fork, or I could have used an old brush, just a simple brush.
Something with stiff bristles.
Or my fingernails, which I've often used. So what is this door telling me? It's telling me oh, I know what I want to put behind this door. I was thinking about this last night, that I would like light. So
yes.
I need even more light than that. And the way I'm going to do that is with white, titanium white, which gives me the most light to start. I don't want to start with a dark background. I think I'd prefer to start with something light. Because I really believe, and I have to believe, that the future holds light for me.
Yes.
And for everybody.
One of the things that I'm doing with my pictures and the things that I pulled out is, as I use the glue, the Mod Podge glue, the decoupage glue, I'm mixing a little bit of paint in with it. So it's giving a little bit of color, just a little bit of a wash over what would have been, to me, just kind of a flat gray. It felt like it needed something. So adding the color into the glue means that the image still shines through. And
it's transparent.
Yeah, it's very transparent. And I'm incorporating some of the colors that are in the background. So it feels like it's a part of, rather than just laid on top of.
Right, and you could always decide to cover that even more later on.
Absolutely.
So as long as you don't completely cover it now, because acrylic paint will cover it.
Yeah.
I'm not thrilled with my window, and I'm not sure how to change that, but for now, I think it'll work.
What if you put something around the edges of it?
That's what I think. Maybe some rope, or if I had ribbon or something to make it more interesting.
Or maybe if you add something to the middle of it,
then the focus will go
on the middle.
And you know what? It may not happen today.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this word yesterday. I love the word puzzle. I don't like doing puzzles.
Oh, I love doing puzzles.
I bet you, because you're much more patient.
I love doing puzzles. Yeah, I am very patient generally. I remember as a little girl, I used to sit in our driveway and bead with those little teeny tiny seed beads and make these incredibly long chains of those. And I'd be there for hours, just sitting outside with these little bitty seed beads. And once in a while, somebody would distract me and they'd all fall off. And I remember that I just picked them all up and started again. And sometimes I think, my goodness, how did I ever do that?
But I could see that you would have done that.
How could I ever do that?
I could see that.
So my door is coming together here. I think my hinge needs a little more.
I have a piece of fancy paper here that looks like fabric.
Oh, love it.
And what it makes me think of is the fabric of our lives and the textures of our lives. I'm not sure where I think I'm going to put it on top of the weight here, just to remind myself. So these are reminders. I might not be able to see it, but it's a reminder.
Look at how beautiful that is.
Looks a little bit messy, but
give it a great texture.
I'm not sure. I think I'm going to use it on something else.
Maybe it's a little too much.
I change my mind a lot. So.
Well, and you'll notice that Gail is working on a couple of pieces at once.
I think I'm working on 4 pieces.
Yeah,
right
which
now.
is not uncommon for her. Me, I'm more likely to work on one at a time, although I do appreciate that having the second one to play with gives you the ability, and as we learned last week, to allow things to dry. Like right now, I'm sitting here holding this thing in my hand,
and it's wet.
And it's wet, and I'm just kind of piddling around because I can't do anything else with it. Yeah,
would you like something else to work on? I'm going to give you something.
I do point it in the right direction.
How about this envelope?
Ah, yes, yes, yes. So
I'm going to paint this. Would you like to put something on the envelope? I know for sure that I am not going to finish a piece during this session, but the main thing was to explain how this happens. So I'm going to cover this cardboard here that I tore off my tea box, and let's see what we get.
This envelope isn't calling me. Let me see. Here's another. I'm feeling like feeling almost like my door needs a window.
Would you like to use this or this. I know you're gonna find your own thing.
Yeah, let me see. Let me see.
I've even, you know what I found the other day that was really interesting, and this was after the fact. After I tried to cut out doors and windows, but I cut too much, so
yes.
this is where my windows fell out. But I found this in a travel magazine. It was 2 pages, but they came
and
apart.
they have doors.
They actually have doors. So it says live the adventure, and it has Florence with a window of Florence underneath. So it's the same concept.
Yes.
Charleston, South Carolina, with a picture of it under here. They're little openings that you can interact.
I think I need to find some words.
Put little memories.
That's where I am. I need to find some words. Where did our word bin go? There it is. There's some words.
And you have some nice magazines here. You have travel magazines,
here we go.
psychology, yes.
Story of your life.
Yes.
It's never too late for a rewrite.
No.
That's a good one too.
You'll probably find that inside. If you don't have paint, then we have different color markers here. You can use markers or crayons. You could just color. And the nice thing about that is you don't really have to wait for it to dry.
Yes.
This is the word I've been looking for.
Light. There you go. Here we go. Believe. Believe.
So I'm actually covering the word light with some gold paint, and I can still see it through. And I like that it's not perfect. It has creases in it. We had some baby wipes here, but I guess we could just use a little bit of water on a paper towel. The other thing, I was thinking about the fabric of our lives. This is something I did a lot. It might be hard to see. It's in black and white.
Oh, yeah.
But I had a simple scarf or a jacket, and I put it under a photocopy machine. And I have a beautiful texture to work with if I want to do something.
Really nice.
These almost look like windows.
Yes, they do. They absolutely look like windows.
Now I'm working on 12 things at once. But don't forget to have some of our delicious mint tea.
Yes. Ooh, that's yummy.
Hopefully you have something nearby that you could sip and relax with.
I'm adding some more words now to the inside of my card. And
to your door.
Yes.
Is that your door?
This is my door.
I don't want to miss.
Yes,
I don't want
and
to
it actually is a
misrepresent
card
that.
too. So yes, it is my door.
It's literally a 2-fold, bifold door.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, and I was looking at Gail's and seeing that she's got a window in her door, and thinking that my door needs a window too.
And you could always put a piece of plastic in there too to make it look like a window.
Yeah, the challenge is that I put my words in a space where I might have to take my word off.
Wait, don't do that. Tell me what you want to do. You want to make a window?
Well, yeah, so if I made the window, well, you know what? Maybe I can
What if
make
you
the
turn this
window.
over and come through this side?
See, I didn't do that side yet.
You could paint that, and maybe you'll like that side.
But I like the
thank you. Yeah.
I like the thing.
All right, that's your project. There's no right or wrong.
So I think I might. My hands are a mess.
What do you need? Here's some water that you could put on a paper towel.
Yes, and see if I can get some of this off my fingers. So I can.
We had baby wipes, but they challenged us and disappeared.
Yes.
So, can't wait. I need something that has a natural theme, a nature theme. You're not the only one.
All right, let's see.
Fill your days. I like that. Fill your days.
See if I can get this to cut. Ouch. So because I painted before I cut, this is going to be a little hard one of the things that has always helped me is to make just a
Tear.
little tiny cut first.
What are you trying to do?
I'm going to cut my window.
Oh, what about the X-Acto?
Yeah, the X-Acto would work, except that I don't have anywhere to lay it down right now. So
you could do it on.
So I'm okay with the scissors.
All right.
So I started with just a little cut, and then I could put the scissors in that little hole, and then make my way around. And as I was worried earlier that I had words on the back of the door, what I've discovered is that I can just cut around those words. And it's actually going to work perfectly. The back of the window, I mean, in my door. It's actually going to work perfectly because look what I have there. Now showing.
Let's see. Now showing.
And I can take my little girl pictures because one of my intentions for 2018 is to remember the joy we have
Plans.
as a little girl at play.
Oh.
Yes. So this is my little girl here. This is me, a little girl playing. And you know what I love so much about this process is that I really didn't think about that when I made these pictures. It turned out, it's just interesting, isn't it? How this is for
No
me,
planning.
This is for me how the creative energy in the universe works. I happened to earlier this week stumble upon an old box of photos that was on my art supply shelf, and it didn't belong there. So I pulled it down.
You had to look through it.
But I had to look through it, of course. When I realized what it was, I had to look through it. And in it, I found a collection of pictures of me, not only as a little girl, but me very young at Christmas time.
Oh, so it's
I
exactly
had taken all
here.
those pictures out because I wanted to do some other things with them. And they were laying on the top of my desk when I was preparing to come for this. And I said, oh, well, I need pictures. Let me just take these.
Meant to be.
And I didn't really even think about it because they just happened to be right there. And so here we are with me creating a window to the pictures of the little girl.
Very sweet.
That work.
Now, not everybody has great memories of their childhood.
Yes.
Okay, so we are definitely considerate of that and understand that. And somebody might choose to put their pictures, if you're using any childhood pictures, behind the door and closing that door and locking that door.
Yes.
This is up to you. These are your doors. They're your doors for opening, closing, locking. You could put this away. This isn't something that you put on show. This isn't something that we're selling. This isn't something that you're going to give as a gift. This is something for yourself, a reminder of how you would like to enter into the new year. The possibilities that await you. And that doesn't mean being held down or held back by anything that's happened in the past.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that because it really, it really is important that, you know, there are things that we can release, right? And one of the ways that we release those things is to put them away.
Right. And creative activities are incredible for that because all of these are metaphors for real life. So the doors are metaphors for either opportunity. I mean, for me, so for you, they have different meaning. For opportunity, for change, for, like you said, a passageway into light or darkness. Doors and windows have a lot of windows for me, living in South Florida. Mean possibility of fresh air. So we rarely get to open our windows or doors. And we're very excited when that finally happens each year. So, and it probably happens only once or twice a year if we're fortunate enough.
Because I live over closer to the ocean.
You get
I
breeze.
get to open my windows.
Do you really? All the time. That's great.
Well, and I'm one of those crazy people who doesn't care.
No matter what.
75 degrees in my house.
Right.
You know. So, I one of the reasons I really enjoy living by the beach is that I have fresh air coming in.
That's wonderful. So windows mean fresh air to you as well.
Yes, they do. Absolutely. So there, Denise.
I remember the windows growing up in Canada, and particularly in our living room, looking out the window every time there was a snowfall and sitting by that window. So I'm adding white to this door right now, but I'm wondering if that should be a window to those snowy days as I'm sitting in a dinghy in Florida in my picture. But none of this has to make sense. It just has to feel right. It just has to feel right.
So the glue that you use to put your door down,
This thicker glue.
thicker.
Thicker.
Okay, let me,
That's medium. And we could be putting here. We could be
Oh, there
putting.
we go.
Yeah, you got it. Okay. A little more.
Oh, sugar.
Here, you know what? I'll take it out with a knife for you. How's that?
There we go. Thank you.
I'll leave it there. And if you don't have glue, I have double stick tape here. I used Scotch tape yesterday. Anything will work. This actually would work great if you want to do something.
Yeah, and I have used in the past, you can buy special crafting tape. The glue dots also work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And what's fun about using the glue dots is you add texture by layering. Your things come off the page a little bit.
Oh, okay. So
yeah.
I forget what you call that. And you can see behind it, so it becomes a little bit almost like a 3D.
Yeah.
Three-dimensional.
Yeah, and so that's fun.
I think I need to grab a magazine from under you so I can get a few more words, because definitely words are profound and have a lot of meaning for me once I grab them.
Oh, I love how this is coming together.
Oh,
Really
very
love
fun.
how that is coming together. So
A lot
I'm
of
gonna
fun.
wipe my hands off a little bit. Here's a little extra glue for anybody who needs it. And
I just saw a pretty door yesterday.
so as you explore this theme this week,
just pay attention to doors and windows
yes,
around here.
and you can print things off the internet.
Right.
You know, again, excuse me, Gail mentioned this last week. You're not selling these pieces; these are designs for you. So
don't worry about copyright. Right.
If you were to be creating something that you're selling, then obviously we do want to be very respectful of other artists' creations,
right?
Photographs, and
right?
Things like that.
People work very hard to paint or take photographs, and unless they're altered considerably where they're not recognizable, then there would be copyright issues. But these are just for yourself.
Yeah, this is your own.
So this was just another idea I had. Rainbows are also openings, which I never thought about until yesterday, but they're the archways that I'm always looking at.
Yeah.
And archways between trees, and that's the light I'm always looking for.
Yeah.
I might create a larger piece and use something like this, but I will alter it and I'll paint on top of it, so it will be my own.
So I am getting close, as we get close to the top of the hour, I'm actually getting close to the possibility that I might
finish this.
Yes. Now, of course, I started with the book.
You thought you were
from
finished
last week, right? And I thought I was finished with that, but I'm really liking the idea that this is incorporated. And so I think the last thing that I'm going to do.
That's a beautiful project, Nanette, that I think is a great sample for us to use on the Creative Hearts page.
Yes.
Because I think the book would be a wonderful thing for you to share with everybody.
Yeah. And they are so, and this particular binding was a super easy one. I'll actually also be able to share with you how to do a more sophisticated binding on
that would be great
for those of you who might want to do a thicker journal or something like that. But yeah, so I think I'm gonna find some. Do we have? Oh yeah, this is a shimmery gold, right? Yeah, that's what this is.
Oh, I know you could relate to this.
And a little tweak green.
You could make green. We have yellow. And we should have blue. And guess what? We have green. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. So
looking at my creation now, I'm feeling like I want to incorporate just a little bit of the green color from the background into the door, and not so that it blends totally, but it just is calling me that it needs a little bit of green.
Go for it.
And to finish the edges with some gold, like I did with the others.
Pretty nice
Finish
touch.
that off. So
just to,
my window.
I thought of another way. I'm always trying to simplify this for people who don't have the time to create from scratch. But if you look through magazines, you will find pictures of houses and doors.
Yes.
And you could just cut those out. You could apply
Yes.
that to cardboard and cut those out. And I could just show you a quick example of that.
Yes. You know, that would be perfect on the envelope, because one of the things that
Where's the envelope?
I think I passed it back over there because it's so light. I was worried about putting
There it is.
heavier stuff on it.
Yes.
So with putting the
I couldn't fit the whole thing on, but let's see if I could cut a window. And of course I cut the window in the wrong direction, but that's okay. This window will open the other way.
again, nothing.
No right or wrong.
No
And I
right or
just tore it.
wrong.
So that's okay, because once I
Oh,
paint and I
okay.
glue on it, it'll be fine.
And I got a little bit of gold on my little girl, but that's all good because she needs
some shimmer.
She needs some shimmer anyway. So yeah, we're just gonna incorporate that a little bit.
So I just want to do a quick sample here.
Cover up a little bit more. There's some words that are sort of showing through, so I'm gonna use the gold to cover that up. And I'm liking that the gold around my little girl is giving her a little shine. And she's just getting flecked with a little bit of gold there. Yes.
Oh, the word campus kind of got chopped off.
Adding some more gold to the inside of my door, around the edges. So we go here, and you'll notice I'm just doing this with my finger, and as I'm looking at the camera, I'm not even looking at the page. I'm just feeling my way around the edge. It doesn't have to be done in any
Format.
format.
Right.
It's the messier the better, actually.
Some of these words also have little copyrights near them. You have to be
Yes.
careful of that. Again,
Yes.
I'm not selling this, but I just decided to, I'm going to put this here instead because the canvas got cut off. I just want to show an example.
Oh, yes, look how
I don't know how this will fit, but I'm going to give it a try.
perfect.
Okay,
Oh.
be careful not to glue your window shut or door unless that is what you
Unless
want.
that's your intention. Yeah, and as we did last week, you know, sometimes the words and the things that we've put, they don't have to be showing outwardly. You know that they're under
right,
there.
you
Your
know they're there.
subconscious knows they're there.
So this is the house I just showed you. I opened up the window and behind it, it says, home is the key.
There you go. Beautiful.
But I could have had a fire burning in there. I could have just added color. Anything would have been fine. And then I'll probably put this entire thing, if I want the
Behind
whole house,
something else.
I'll put this onto a piece of cardboard and I could cut out the door, I could cut out the windows.
Mhm.
So if you don't want to create your own, there are many ways into this and many ways out.
Absolutely. Ah, there we go.
So I think these pretty lilacs remind me of something special. I'm going to put them behind my door. And I also added some words in front. So it doesn't all have to be behind closed doors. Some things you want to have visible. So all I did behind this door was I added, it's hard to see because the color is the same, I added some flowers behind there. And I'm going to paint behind this window as well. So I could put something there too, maybe a word. So there's two ways that we could do this. I just need a word to demonstrate. So here's an example. So we have this original cardboard that had just some word on it, spontaneous, and some paint. I added my door. I painted this little window this little window on my door. I'm not sure what I'm doing with that yet. But I also painted the other side of it. So I may be adding words. I added a word on there. I added a picture inside, and I'm still trying to decide what else I'm going to put inside. In here, again, there's two ways in. What I'm going to do on this is not only do I have a picture of that beautiful little pod, I call it a pod. What would you call that?
Oh, yeah, it does look like a pod.
It's like a natural pod made out of twigs. It's so pretty. I'm going to paint something here, or I'm going to add words that have to do with nature over there. So there's several ways that you could decorate your door. It will be on the front, on the inside of the door, and whatever shows through the door. Oh, look at you.
So on mine, I started with the card that I had created previously, which is a cereal box side folded in half and then collaged on top of. And I added what was a thank you card. And as I started to cover it up, I realized that I really liked the word thank you on the front. So I didn't cover that word completely. I used kind of translucent. And actually I covered this with wax paper because I wanted the texture, but I wanted to see the word. And then as I was playing, I decided that I was going to have words on the inside. Hopefully, yeah, that's better lighting, you can see. So on the inside, I had now showing and believe in. And when I first got started, if you were watching, you saw that I didn't have a window in the door. And I decided I wanted to put these slices of me, little smiling little girls on the inside. And then I concluded that it made sense for there to be a way for me to see myself from the outside. And when I open the door, this window in the door, you see
the outside looking in.
Outside looking in, you see smiling little girl. Again, my intention being to connect more with my smiling little girl.
So that's your goal.
That joy that we all, not we all, but that I experienced as
yes.
a child, or in moments, I imagine all of us at some point had those moments of pure joy, and you can witness it in children. And it just is something I just love to see and love to be reminded of, because it's my belief that we all have that inside of ourselves.
Absolutely. We're
born
to
with
erase it for a while, and coming back to creativity is essential.
Absolutely.
It is.
So that is my piece. I found this little hinge that I thought was just great fun to add. And
let me see the hinge.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
so I painted on the inside and then glued my door down. I added just a little bit of the green edged with the gold to give it the finishing touches. Added a little bit of green to highlight the thank you. And I forgot, I added this is another person who loved this.
The light is closer than you think.
The light is closer than you think, which is inside of you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I'm trying to find just a quick way to show a doorknob.
I would just.
How about a piece of string? Just through a hole.
A little piece of ribbon would work. There's also, so the possibility.
I don't have a button or anything available right now.
Yes, and
I probably do, but I
forgot. One of the ways that this.
Can you mind if I use this natural?
Yeah, go ahead.
Back to nature.
Absolutely.
I don't need much. So I'm creating a hole in the door. I just
for the ribbon or for the string.
Right.
It's going to be.
And it's a little messy, but it's going to be my opening. Yes. I'm not putting a lock on this door yet.
Yeah. My door does not have a lock.
So,
right now, it doesn't even have a handle. as I see. Oh,
all I
look,
did
there
was
you go.
tie a piece of string on here, and I'm going to cut it and hope that it doesn't open. I might put a little glue on it just to make
To
it
keep the knot.
right.
Yeah, that for those of you who have not done that before, it's a great trick. If you are crafting
Or nail polish.
creating, nail polish works for that. Put a little glue on the knot, and
I wouldn't have thought of it, but
Yeah.
just now I was thinking, how am I going to keep that? So
there you go.
I have a doorknob to open and close it, and I still haven't decided what she is doing, and she's waiting inside on that dinghy, deciding what I'm going to put in there, and I think I need that magazine over there.
Okay.
How much time do we have left?
I think we are getting to the
close.
time where we are just about
A hint of memory is the first thing I opened.
Beautiful. Nice.
And I just tore it, but I'm going to glue it back together.
There you go.
So whatever you plan may not work out, but if it does, through the act of gluing. Oh, I love this too.
This is a pretty picture.
So again, back to the vision boards. Why does life feel so hard? I may take that and turn it into something positive. So we have a girl there, she's holding an umbrella and paint falling on her, and I think it was meant for me to open that magazine.
I made a big mess.
Oh no. What do you need?
It's all right. I'll just get it cleaned up later. But somehow I ended up with your favorite Payne's Gray.
Oh no, it was black.
So, yeah. Good news is it wipes right off.
Right. Now I have a picture here that doesn't fit my door. So what I'm going to do is, and very often people use the first pictures that they see or that they love in their pieces, and it works. For me, very often saving it or waiting long enough, something else happens and I find something, and the word spontaneous comes to light. So she doesn't fit that. Yeah. She doesn't really fit unless I trade her. I might trade her.
Well, the other trick that I do sometimes is if I find something in the end that feels like it's connected to the piece, but it doesn't fit.
I just ripped myself out.
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
I put it on the back.
Oh, that's a good idea. Just so you know that.
Again, I don't have to see it. I know it's there.
Yeah, I just hate to lose this, so I'm gonna see what I can do. I'm not one to save it just because, but she was just perfect.
She is perfect. See, for those of you who can't quite see that image, it's a woman in an expanded dance pose with an umbrella, and she's got colors of paint.
And I never cut, but I have to cut to make her fit. I usually just tear, but I am going to make her fit no matter what. I'm determined.
And Gail putting a doorknob on her door is making me feel like I need a doorknob on mine. So I'm taking just a little bit of this wax paper and I think rolling it into a little ball, hopefully.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yes.
I don't know how I'm doing this.
Perfect for spontaneous.
What I'm doing is, it said life is so hard, so I'm repainting this door black inside to remind myself that yes, life is so hard. But I'm going to counterbalance that with a picture that reminds me that though life could be very difficult, and through unfortunate circumstances, I have a chronic pain issue, and many of you out there do as well, or some other issues that make life hard on a daily basis. Whether it's being caregivers, we're that sandwich generation now, or otherwise. We could start off with a black door that looks bleak, but when we open it, we could always add something better. And I'm going to wait a little till it's dry, so I don't mind covering my images normally, but the black will not not be good on there. So I'm very excited that I waited, because I might in the end have not a finished piece, but a piece that I feel excited about and something to look forward to. And I don't want to lose her.
So I did just add a little, And
let's see.
see my little journal?
Oh, you created a knot.
I created a knot.
How did you do
I
that?
just rolled up a piece of wax paper. I rolled it in the decoupage glue, and then I wrapped it in the thicker gel so that it would stick. And
it did.
I think it will stick.
You literally have a knob.
And now I have a knob.
That's lovely.
And I just put a little bit of pigment on top of it.
You know
All
what?
right, my friend. But what do you think?
I'm covering her up with black.
Oh,
But
you're gonna wipe it off.
magic.
Yes. So
The acrylic paint, this will get. I'm just wiping it off of her, and I'm going to take a little bit of water, and so I don't want to lose her completely because she was so colorful.
yes.
So don't be afraid if you've covered something. You could. I even tore my picture out of there, my little girl picture.
Yes.
Okay, so it's not great.
And again, we're working with photocopies of the pictures. So
You know what? I think I'm actually rubbing the picture off.
Oh.
So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to save this concept, let it dry, and I might paint over her like we did last week.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to use her as an inspiration.
Yeah.
A
like
flight
that.
of color. So I have to do that.
over there.
Too late. No, I could scratch it. You could also scratch the paint off.
Yes.
So,
When you've been working in layers,
yeah.
you can absolutely scratch.
But I think I'm going to add a gloss to this after, so it's
Yes.
have more depth.
Yes.
And what are you doing?
I think I am done. I think my little girl could use some gloss. When this layer's all dry, I will definitely gloss over the whole
To
thing.
save her as well.
Yeah.
I think it'll be really nice.
But everything will need a little bit of time to just set up. But
So my little regret is that I covered her up, but I'm going to find other ways to add color to this. And she's my inspiration right now. Yeah, to add color.
Beautiful.
And I just didn't wait long enough. That's why. I will find color and I will add it.
Okay.
So again, through the darkness, if there is darkness, you could add light. You could add words.
Yes.
You could add new meaning to something that meant something before. Here it says, come as you are. And I have doors and windows with possibility and openings to whatever I choose in the future.
There we go. So, to the new year, all. We're again so happy to be here.
Same.
Happy to be here.
Of course, and happy that you're here to join us.
Yes.
And please find us again in January. We'll begin our series again. And we'll have all information posted on the Creative Hearts page.
Yes, absolutely. So be watching for it there. You'll see this video. If you haven't seen it live, thank you for watching. And please do let us know what you like about the series, what you'd like to see. If you have any ideas, we'd love to hear from you. It's our intention to keep this going, and we need to hear what it is that you want to create so that we can bring that to you. Because we'll sit here and play all for the whole year, right?
Passageway to possibility.
Absolutely.
And that means creating as much as possible.
Yes.
As much as possible.
It does. And that's our New Year's wish for all of you.
So play in the new year.
Absolutely.
And enjoy and take care of yourselves.
Until next time.
Until next time.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.